Good evening, folks. Good evening. It's good to be with you here today for another SFOI 1000 football update. So we're going to go over, as usual, some things from last week, some reports from the brothers out there preaching. Then we'll go over what's coming up this coming weekend and some upcoming events, since we are roughly halfway through, maybe a little more than that, college football season, not counting playoffs, and not quite halfway through NFL season, of course. But we're getting there, so we want to keep on going. I want to bring you up to speed on some things coming up to make you aware of that you might want to be involved with. So without further ado, let's get started here with some updates from last week. All right, here we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Bear with me. We'll start here on the West Coast. Brother Rick Garland. Rick's a busy man. He pastors Lomita First Baptist Church out there in L.A. He's a great guy, great brother, him and his family. So he's a busy man, but he takes time out and takes his church out to witness and preach at these football games at USC. So last Saturday, he says he asked for prayer for his team, of course. Said he had 5 from his church going out. That's awesome. And said they were playing hymns while passing out tracts, and police officer walks over and asks him to, believe it or not, turn it up. And as Rick says here, that was a first. Yeah, I've never had that happen either. So that's pretty awesome. Said it was a fantastic day of sharing the gospel. Here's a few pictures, a couple of them here. See if we can make them larger. Bear with me. Good crowds out there at USC. Alrighty, let's move right along. Go back East Coast. Nope, we're still out in the West. Out there in Utah, Brother Joe Henson, our West Coast SFOI 1000 director, preaches at the BYU games. Says crowds are pretty constant. Of course, he's in a unique place. If you don't know Brigham Young University, of course, the name says it all. It's a predominantly Mormon area. He's out there. He's a full-time missionary out there in that area. So pray for Joseph. His approach might be a little different. Of course, the message never changes, and certainly isn't. But he says here, crowds are pretty constant. Stoplight preaching in a Mormon context is a little tricky, as we only have a few moments to make a clear distinction between the biblical gospel and what the LDS Church teaches. So pray for Joe and his team. There's Brother Ed, you'll see right here in this picture. Brother Ed goes out with him there, and faithful preacher of the gospel as well. So be with these guys. Here's Joe's little message from there. Let's listen to it for a minute. All right, thank you, Brother Joe, for that video there, update from last Saturday. So pray for Brother Joe and Ed and all those folks out there as they take the gospel to the LDS Church. We'll go Brother Joe here. Now we're going East Coast, over North Carolina. Brother Joe Toy. See what he had going on. He had, let's see, Paul and Franco, I guess is the way you say that. Daniel Springs, Peter Firth, Sam, and David with him. So had a good team as well. Had a team of 6. They said they split up into 3 locations, which is good to do if you're where you can. Said passed out about 300 gospel tracts and had some short gospel conversations. Here's another positive police interaction. He says, state police told us if we had any problems to let them know. Said the crowd was very cordial for the most part. A number of Christians encouraged us and thanked us for being there. And you'll find that does happen often. You'll get other brothers and sisters in Christ that will come and encourage you and actually be glad you're there. So just know that God sends encouragers when needed. Let's go here to back to Georgia Southern University. Brother Grayson Shaw preaches down there, and he texted me. I think it was last Saturday. It was a night game, and he was telling me how much different the crowd was. And we'll read a little bit about what he says here. He says the attendants were him and Wesley, who is the associate pastor at Thrive Church in Statesboro. Says because most people were either out of town or at a family function, so that makes sense. I mean, you can't be everywhere all the time. So that's I'll just point this out here again. That's the one of the exact reasons you want to have a team of evangelists. So if you are unable to go, that you'll still have a presence there, or not all your people can be there all the time. And we certainly understand that's why one reason we encourage you to build a team to go with you to help you do this mission. Because of course, as you may or may not remember, we focus on being consistent, and we want to be consistent and have someone at each game, each home game, at all these stadiums. So I appreciate these folks coming out and being on these teams and helping out where needed. Anyway, let's carry on here. He said it wasn't quite on the scale as he thought it would be, but this game was different from the others. He says, I bought some yard signs offline that have some message on one side of them, and also, are you going to heaven, take the test sign on the front. I preached for a while, and he did as well. And I saw my friend from the Adult Baseball League for the second home game in a row. He came up and greeted me again. Says there are many drunken people in the crowd. Of course, as the day goes on, that's what happens. It's a later game. And thus many more sarcastic comments and mocking charades. That's exactly what happens. Sarcastic comments and mocking charades. But I kind of that can be a distraction and be frustrating. But when you think about it like it, that tells me that their conscience is still working. It's not seared, because that's, in my opinion, a defense mechanism that lost people that are loving their sin and don't want to hear the gospel message will retaliate by saying something sarcastic or some kind of heckling, and it kind of defends their conscience and helps them to, going through life in their lost state and feel more peaceful about it, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better word. And so I look at it like a sign that their conscience still works. So I kind of welcome hecklers to an extent. And so we should too. And let's just always remember too that they're not the enemy. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers in high places. And these folks, lost people, how do you expect them to act like lost people, right? So don't be surprised, don't be offended, don't take it personal, but just be glad that they know what you're there for, know what you're doing, or they wouldn't even have a response. So that's just a sign of their conscience working and what we're doing having an impact on the culture. So let's just keep on going. So they had several cars from behind them going down to this next paragraph here. Ask what our Are You Going to Heaven sign said. And we got to speak to the asker as well as other people in the car with them. So that's pretty awesome there. One of the guys in the back seat of a truck noticed my shirt, and that we have gone to the same high school. He said he was a Christian, but the guy who asked the question in the front did not seem to be. That's a good report there from Pray for Grayson, his team, as he goes out and preaches at these games. It's a smaller university, of course, Georgia Southern University, but hey, there's going to be people there, so don't worry about the size of the university. Just there's going to be people there. Can move right along. I don't know who this guy. Oh, that's me. So we were down at UGA this past Saturday. It was a long day. It was supposed to be cooler, but it seemed pretty hot, pretty warm still. It's like in Georgia, you never know if it says it's going to be in the high 60s, you can still sweat. It's just the way it is. Anyway, it was a Mississippi State in town versus UGA. Had a good crowd as usual. We had Jamie Smith, Scott Phillips, Hudson Phillips, Rich Saplita, and Javid, who I don't know his last name. He works for he's a friend of Rich's. He works for the Georgia Right to Life, and he came out and he shared for about 10 minutes about the sanctity of life, and that was good to have him out there, and that was a very well placed message right there. I know our focus is certainly on evangelism, but we certainly want to proclaim the right to life and the sanctity of life, and that God is the one that gives life. And so that was nice to have out there. We had a conversation, or actually I did with a guy. He's yelling about it being false information and stuff like that, and it wasn't he was pretty abrasive there for a while, and I guess maybe I was too a little bit to him, but he was we left with a handshake and everything, but he was just very adamant that everything was cool with what we were saying except for the abortion thing. That's what he claimed anyway. But anyway, it was a good conversation. It was well out there, and Jamie Smith kind of came over and bailed me out when I was in this kind of heated discussion with this guy, and talked with him, and we both shook hands with him. He left on good terms, so that was good. Hopefully the man made him think a little bit, at least about abortion, not just abortion, but eternal life as well. So we preached for almost 3 hours, and Jamie spoke, like I said, about sanctity of life for about 10 minutes. Had some encouragement and a few mockers. Some tracts went out. I'm not sure how many. I mean, not as many as usual, I don't think. Just the nature of the day. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. The gospel went forth, and of course, we leave the results up to God as always, who gives the increase. Here's some pictures. You can see here, I want to bring this one up bigger. There's Javid there. And you see the crowd right before kickoff. Brother Scott down here preaching this blue shirt. See the crowd there. How many thousands of people coming to these games? 93,000 seat stadium plus. And so we're in a good spot. And right before kickoff, we always have these huge crowds here. Some listen. See this lady here. She looks like she's engaged listening. Some seem not to be listening, but you don't know. And then there's some mockers and some encouragers, and it's just all kinds. So we got a great spot. We've been blessed with it. But that's what's happening there, or this past Saturday at UGA. So now let's go back over here and talk about what's coming up this weekend. Okay, NFL season week 7 last night, the New Orleans Saints game. Of course, Brother David Robert, and I think the Saints actually lost that game. Not that really matters. We're not in the business of worrying a whole lot about that, of course, but that game was last night. So pray for Brother David as he continues to preach at the Saints games. Then this Sunday, Heath and Dan will be at Green Bay Packers up in Wisconsin. Be praying for those two brothers, two awesome brothers. Love them both dearly. They're great to be around. Just they're always, you see one, you'll probably see the other more often than not, which is good. But I love those brothers. They're great guys. And Heath also teaches our Keep Your Finger in the Text sermon preparation classes for SFOI. You can do. I'll just go ahead and put a plug in for him. You can go on 2 different tracks. There's one on Tuesday nights that where you get together and you get assigned a text, and he goes through the process of putting the text together, putting the sermon together. It's a whole process, and then you'll present that to the rest of the class, and it's all done online. And the rest of the class will help you out, give you their encouraging words and stuff. Real friendly, loving, brotherly event. I would highly recommend it. It's helped me tremendously. I've been in a few of those. And there's also the track on Monday night, Taking Reps, where a group of 6 to 8 guys, it usually is, get together and work through a text together. And same process, we just do it as a group together. So both things are great. I would recommend taking the Tuesday night class first, so you kind of get an idea of how it works in the process, and then jump into the Taking Reps class and continue on. They're ongoing even this week. They are. I'm not in them right now, but they're super helpful. So I would encourage you to do that, and we appreciate Brother Heath for doing that for us as well. Brother Brian Nine, faithful brother who actually has a ministry. He goes out and trains churches and people on how to share the gospel. So he's got a great ministry there too, but he preaches. A lot of folks come out from his church at the Colts games. He'll be there this Sunday. And then Brother Sterling, he's been out of commission mostly this fall for had a knee replacement there, but he is planning on going down Sunday to the Falcons game this week. So pray for him and his wife, Carol, as they go down. And I think he's got another brother going with him, but thankful for Sterling and his encouragement and his faithfulness, but glad to have him back out on the street. So pray for Sterling. Pray that he's healed up well. He's kind of been easing back into ministry, but we don't want him to overdo it. So be in prayer for him. And then Matthew Cochran, Pittsburgh Steelers, Sunday as well. And let's go on down here to college, week number 8. Brother Sam Wilking, University of Nevada. Faithful brother out there. Him and his wife typically go out, I believe, to the stadium and share the gospel. And Brother Joe, who we had a little video from there from last week, he'll be back out. Looks like it was today, actually. Actually, it's tonight, but they're like 3 hours behind us. So he may be out there right now. I didn't realize that was a Friday night game. I apologize for that, but he'll probably be out there at Brigham Young University again, preaching the gospel. So pray for Brother Joe. Pray for Joe's ministry. He's out there full-time doing ministry. And as you know, full-time missionaries, they have challenges that maybe the rest of us don't necessarily, that have jobs, but he has to depend on financial support from churches and other believers. So pray for Joe that his finances will be met and taken care of so he can carry on the mission. Does a great work out there. Brother Shiloh Gavin, University of Oklahoma, tomorrow is Saturday. Lose my train of thought. And David Dorman at the University of Cincinnati. David also preaches at the Bengals game, so pray for him. I'm sure that gets kind of hectic at times if he has a Saturday and Sunday game back to back. And Brother Justin Johnson at the University of Louisville up in Kentucky, be praying for him. And Brother Ryan Denton, Texas Tech, and pray for Brother Ryan. He's got a big ministry out there in Texas where he lives, New Mexico area, Texas, that area. So be praying for him. And continuing on, Jason Schleider, College of William and Mary. And I apologize for butchering your name, brother, but he'll be there Saturday. Then Mark Yoho is filling in for Brother Bill, who is in England. We'll go ahead and talk about that last couple of weeks. I think this weekend is the last weekend they're going to be in London for NFL games in London. There's a team of, I think, 10 to 12, maybe 15 folks over there preaching the gospel. So pray for Brother Bill, but pray for Brother Mark as he's filling in at the Tennessee games for Brother Bill when he's out of town. So we love Brother Mark. Great brother. He's also a Super Bowl team leader, which we'll get to in just a moment. And Grayson Shaw, George Southern, we read a little review from him. Pray for Brother Grayson as he goes out, and pray for his team, as he only had 2 last week. Hopefully have more this week. And Brother Jerry Collins, Bakersfield College, out in California. Francisco Nieves, University of Texas. I don't have a home game this weekend because my team, or the team I preach at, UGA, they're actually going to be in Texas playing against the Francisco's team. So you see where I'm going with this, that even though I'm not preaching to the Georgia fans this weekend, my team, Brother Frank and his team, will be preaching to my fans. You see the beauty of this organization of having these guys preaching all over the nation. Of course, we have more stadiums that need more preachers, but it's just awesome to know that the fans from here are going to go out there and they're going to hear the same message, basically, that they're going to hear about the death, burial, resurrection of Christ out there, Brother Francisco preaching. So I'm thankful for him that my fans are in good hands this weekend as well. And Brother John Dawson, University of Memphis, out there in West Tennessee. First, Brother John, he's a great brother. We were together a couple years ago at an event out in L.A., I believe it was. Where is that? I get them all mixed up, but good brother, awesome brother. He loves people. He takes care of his friends, co-workers and stuff when they need things, and he's just an awesome guy. So be in prayer for him. All right, that's what's coming up this weekend as far as SFOI 1000. You see that obviously there's many more games happening than we have on the list here. And so I want to encourage you to, it's not too late. Like I say, we're halfway through the season. It's never too late to start. So get on board, give me a call, send me a text or whatever, and we will get together and discuss how you can get involved as well. We'll help you out all we can. All right, and coming up, typically I lead a team to the college football championship. This year, it's only about an hour down the road from me. It's down in Atlanta this year, so I'm excited about not having to get on an airplane to get there, but I encourage you to do so. We're looking for at least 10 guys to come down. It's January 17th through 20th. The 17th is a Friday, and that's really typically going to be like a check-in, get settled in kind of day, more than likely. may not be a whole lot going on. I got to check the schedule. We'll be updating this information. As you know, the game will be actually on the Monday, the 20th. So our ministry time out on the street is going to be 18th, 19th, 20th, more than likely. Maybe the 17th a little bit. We just got to work out the fine details. But if you want to register, you can go down here. You got the website there, SFOI.org. I think it's /college-football-championship. You can also go to I'll show up here, the drop down menu where it says events January through June right here. Drop down, you'll see it right there, College Football Championship. And so I encourage you to pray about that. I'd love to have you. The more the merrier. We'll if we get more than 10, that's great. We'll make accommodations for that. We're working on getting a place to stay and work out all the details. But I encourage you to come. It's a good time. We preaching Atlanta all the time. It's a good place to preach around the stadium and the convention center there. So we'd love to have you. So pray about that. Got any questions, certainly let me know, and I'll help you out any way I can. The next event I want to talk about is coming up in February 6th through the 9th. This is our annual Super Bowl outreach event. And typically there's between 85 and 100 folks that will come to this and participate. We have, as you can see, 6 team leaders. There they are right there. All those fine brothers. My team leader is the big guy on the right there, the tall guy there, Mark Yoho, great brother. And these other guys, they're wonderful people too. I've been out with most of them, maybe a couple. Yeah, I think I've been out with all of them to a Super Bowl or something. But if you want to go to the Super Bowl, get in touch with these guys. You can go to the website, like I said again, and just let them know you want to be on a team. If you don't know whose team you want to be on, just come and register, and they'll put you on a team. One that maybe has less people than another one or something like that. But it's a great event. Well, we come out as a 3-day event. We have prayer in the morning, have teaching in the morning. They feed us, give us a sack lunch, typically for lunch. Dinner's on our own, or supper, whatever you call that last meal of the day. And then we'll go out and have about 8 hours on the street, broken up in our different teams around Super Bowl events. So it's a great time of fellowship, of learning. And one of the real cool things about Super Bowl is that there's men there that have been doing this for a long time. There's men there that maybe their first Super Bowl. There's men there that maybe have never open air preached. And so you get this whole collection of people at different places in ministry, and you can glean not just from the ones that have been doing it for years. Certainly you can do that, but you can also learn from these young guys that it can remind you of that young zeal and desire to get out to preaching. And it's all in a big encouraging event, and it's just a great event to go to. So I encourage you to do so. It's a tiring event because you're out there on the streets about 7-8 hours a day, and you'll be tired, and that's okay. It's a good tired. But I encourage you to come. We'd love to have you come out there and be with us during this event, the Super Bowl event. So we got College Football Championship in January, and we got Super Bowl in February. They will be here before you know it. So I encourage you to go check them out. You can go to the SFOI website, as you can see it for all these tabs, and you can check out all kinds of stuff that's going on and events. There's so many things happening, and so we would love to have you join us. And it's even expanding more, not just sporting events, but to festivals and city invasions, we call it, and stuff like that. So just get involved. We want to help you out as we can. That's one purpose, is to be out there and to encourage and equip believers to go out and share their faith. We're not a church. Don't try to be a church. Just Brother Bill is an awesome guy. He's our chief evangelist and overseer. He's began this ministry, and he has had it grow, and he's brought people on board to help him out and stuff. And so pray for Bill as the ministry grows, and he has so much on his plate to do. I don't know how he keeps track of it myself, but he does a great job. He's a great brother. He'll be an encouragement to you, but he'll also challenge you. And so just get in touch with us. You can go to the website here, and you can find out our contact info and get in touch with us. We'll be glad to help you out. But I'm fixing to have to go and get out of here, and I'm going to head down to Athens tonight. Like I say, we don't have a game tomorrow, but we'll go down tonight. We go down to Athens on Friday nights, typically preach for a couple hours and share the gospel through tracts and conversations. So pray for us in that endeavor. I look forward to seeing you somewhere on the street very soon. If you need anything at all, please certainly contact me and let me know, and I'll be glad to help you out. I didn't put my number up down here, but it is 480-298-8402. Or you can email me at D as in Delta, dalexburt@gmail.com. SFOI1000tab.com. And all my info should be on the website. You can just go SFOI 1000 tab and you can find me. So I look forward to helping you out. Look forward to seeing you out there. Let's get out there and let's continue on with this mission of preaching the gospel.